So for today's presentation, we're going to chat about navigating the current job and internship market during this COVID-19 pandemic. Things are definitely a little bit different than in the past, but hopefully after today's presentation, you'll have some ideas of how to navigate this job and internship market and hopefully walk away with some strategies so that you can locate the experience that you're looking for. To begin with, I just wanted to start by introducing who the Career Center staff is. I know right now it is a little bit unique that we're working in a virtual environment. That being said, the Career Center is open. We are happy to schedule appointments with students. That can all be done through Handshake. We are also happy to schedule appointments with alums and recent graduates. I'll show you how to do that in a couple minutes here once we get to that portion of the presentation. But to put a face to everyone's name, here is a listing of the Career Center staff and a little bit of our pictures here. And if you go onto the website, you can also see a bio for a brief description of the different Career Center staff. So to begin, we're going to go over a few things here today. And I just want to set those parameters at the beginning so we know what to expect from today's presentation. First, we're going to chat about how is the COVID-19 impacting the job search and the internship search. We're going to also discuss what types of jobs, internships, and experiences are currently hiring right now. We're going to review what a micro internship is and different gig work opportunities. We're going to chat about how to have a productive job and internship search. And we're also going to discuss how you can be competitive during this time by consistently evaluating yourself, your resume, your interview skills. And remember, if you ever need help doing any of those things, the Career Center is here to help you. And then at the end, we'll have a slide that will showcase some resources that will hopefully be helpful for you. So the current job and internship market. You might have heard the saying that we're creating a new normal right now, and I think that is very fair because things are not what they typically are. Typically in May, different employers will have an onboarding of new hires or interns, and that onboarding process historically would have lasted all summer long, and then employers would come back in the fall and start the cycle all over again. Things are a little bit different now because we're in a pandemic, people are working remotely, some smaller employers are juggling trying to maintain their own ability to stay open. So they're not necessarily looking to onboard new people. There's a lot of furloughs out there. So the job market is a little bit different now than in the past. The good news is there still is a lot of different opportunities out there. Even though we are looking at business closures, we're moving to an online hiring process. And like I was saying before, there is a lot more with remote working. But to answer your question, should you be applying to different opportunities? The answer is absolutely yes, you should be applying. Even though opportunities might look and feel a little bit different right now, and even if the application process and interview process might be a little different, companies still are hiring. If you go back and rewind things to 2008, 2009, we went through a very different scenario in that it wasn't a pandemic, in that there was the financial collapse. But the end result was the same, that there were a lot of people that were furloughed, a lot of businesses were trying to stay open, there were a lot of closures, and a lot of people wondering, where am I going to get a job if I was laid off, or I'm a recent graduate and I have no idea where to find my job. The reality is there were still a lot of opportunities out there. The opportunities just changed a little bit. In place of going for maybe starting your dream career right now, maybe thinking about what experience can I do in the meantime to gain meaningful skills for my dream job down the road is something that you can look at. And that's what people did in 08, and it worked out very well for them. And they had a very illustrious career during the past 10 years or so. So it is something I would encourage you to think about. And that's what we're going to discuss through this presentation. So where has the job market gone, and where has the job market increased? We often hear that the job market's collapsed, unemployment's at an all-time high, and some of those things are true, but some markets have actually experienced an increase in job opportunities. Some of those opportunities are with essential workers. So those are individuals working in the healthcare field. Police officers, firefighters also fall into essential workers. Or you might even think about it a little bit differently in that Amazon and Instacart need individuals to deliver groceries. Those are what's considered essential workers, and that industry right now has actually skyrocketed. Another area that has greatly increased is remote jobs. Some jobs are always remote. Computer science and IT for the past 10 years or so has really moved to a remote area. But in light of the pandemic, many more jobs have also become remote that traditionally would have been working in an office. Those experiences are really at an all-time high as well. I just spoke to an employer earlier today, Creative Financial. They are a financial industry, typically not one to onboard remote people. They are relationship builders. They typically do those things face to face. They have moved all of their opportunities remote, and they are still onboarding as we speak. They're still looking to hire some people that will start for them over the summer. So that's one area of a traditional in-person job moving remote, but those opportunities are out there. The other area that has really increased quite a bit is the aspect of gig work. Gig work is, if you think about doing something temporarily, so maybe the employer will only look for you to do a job for 10 hours or a job for 40 hours because you're going to complete one task and the employer is going to pay you based on how many hours that task should complete. Another idea for gig work could be titled a micro internship. That's a new word that's come out of the pandemic that's really popular right now. Those experiences we'll chat about in a couple of slides here, and they're really great experiences to gain some professional development, to gain some new skills, and also to gain a paycheck so that when the job market does become a little bit more traditional, you'll have all of the skills to succeed and transition into what you might consider your career to be. So micro internships, let's start there. Micro internships are much like a traditional internship where an employer will bring you on temporarily. They will train you, they will ask you to do a job, and then at the end of that job or the end of that contract period, your internship would end. The difference with a micro internship versus a traditional internship is the amount of time that you'll be under the training and doing the experience. Typically, a micro internship will last anywhere from 5 to 40 hours total, where an internship in the past would last anywhere from 15 to 40 hours per week and last 8 to 12 weeks. This is really just going to be a much shorter time span. The other big difference is, and I'm going to say this up front, you will not receive academic credit for a micro internship where you might have received academic credit for your summer internship previously. That being said, there's still great opportunities because you can gain a paycheck, you can gain experience, and also if you're a recent graduate or if you're an alum of a couple of years, this is still an opportunity that you can partake in. And there are a ton of opportunities out there right now, so it can be a bridge, so to speak, for you until you do land that next experience. It's also a way to be what's called career ready, and we're going to talk about readiness when we talk about evaluating yourself. Most employers in today's world are looking for people to be what they consider career ready. Career ready means that you have a type of work experience behind you so that you can demonstrate you can do the job. So it's less training that they have to do for you when they do onboard you. By having these micro internships, you'll have a vast amount of employer experience completing a job and getting those positive reviews, getting those references for that next job, for that bridge opportunity, once that bridge opportunity is completed. So micro internships are a great spot for you to take a look. One site that's very popular for micro internships and an employer that we've developed a new relationship with is Parker Dewey. LaSalle has a unique landing page for students. You can see the URL there. I'm going to take you there in a second so that you can look at it. There's also a video below that link. We're not going to view the video during this webinar, but any participants in this webinar, I'll email you a copy of this afterwards so you have the information, and you're welcome to look at the video for a more in-depth view of who Parker Dewey is and how they work. But long story short, Parker Dewey is a employer that helps connect you with other employers that have gig opportunities or those micro internship opportunities. Best thing about them is they are all remote, so you don't have to worry about going out, traveling during the pandemic. You'll be able to do all this in the safety of your own home. So if you allow me, I'm going to switch to a web browser real quick so I can show you how Parker Dewey works. So this is the Parker Dewey main page for the LaSalle landing page. If you scroll down, they'll tell you a little bit about who Parker Dewey is. This is all covered in that video. They have some examples of projects. And at the bottom, they have contact information should you need to get a hold of someone at Parker Dewey. For the sake of this, we're going to click on Create a Free Account. And if you were a brand new to Parker Dewey, you would either sign in with your LinkedIn account, or you can sign up at the bottom during that link. I already have an account, so I'm just going to load this on here real quick, and we'll log in. So after you make an account, it takes about 30 seconds. When you log in, you will be brought to this job board. This job board's great because it is simply a listing of current opportunities. You'll see here that some of the opportunities are by very large companies, Microsoft and Pepsi being the very top two on this list, or I should say in the top three. Speed Exchange is number one. If there is an opportunity that seems interesting to you, if you click on the details, it will tell you a little bit about the company, a little bit about the job that you're working on, and over on the left-hand side, it will tell you what the start date is, what the due date is, and how many hours you will be working for that project. It will also tell you exactly how much you will need or how much compensation you will receive after completing the project. Even though some of these employers are located many states away from where you might be, all of these opportunities, again, are remote, and you'll see that over on the left as well on the top right in the details. It tells you that it's remote, so don't worry about location. I would encourage you to apply to anything in here that seems interesting so that you can gain some of those experiences and that skill set as well as earn some money. If you find an opportunity that seems interesting to you, you can click the apply for the position, and you will be asked to answer a couple essay questions. Once those essay questions are completed, you can submit your application. The hiring manager will review, and they'll get back to you momentarily with the next steps if there's going to be an interview or not. Some of these applications will require a resume, not all of them will. From my understanding of talking to the individuals that run Parker Dewey, these essays really are the big part of it because they want to be able to see you describe why you would be a great fit, and they understand that some individuals are doing this so that they can build up their resume. So if you don't have a resume right now and you see an opportunity you want, please go ahead, apply, write out your essays. Make sure that these essays aren't too long. I would advise anywhere from 250 to 500 words per essay. That's what Parker Dewey indicated that they were looking for. And then you can submit those opportunities. If you're running into some issues with your essays and you need some help, the Career Center is here to help. Feel free to schedule an appointment and we're happy to help you. So this is a quick overview of Parker Dewey. To get back to the presentation here, there's other websites besides them. Here's some list of some other opportunities, or some other links, I should say, to third parties that will help you find opportunities. Not all of these are opportunities that LaSalle is partnered with. LaSalle is only partnered with Handshake and Parker Dewey, and I want to indicate that because those opportunities are vetted by either Parker Dewey or ourselves. I don't know if the other opportunities posted on these websites are vetted by their third party, so please use some caution when reading the job description. If you ever have a question, if a job is valid, feel free to reach out to the Career Center with that opportunity, and we're happy to help you navigate that. Even though we took a look at Parker Dewey, Handshake also does have remote and micro internships as well. If you are a recent alum, you still have access to Handshake. So don't feel that just because you've graduated, or even if you graduated 2-3 years ago before LaSalle had Handshake, you still are welcome to make a free account with Handshake and apply to any of the opportunities there. I can switch back to the web browser real quick and go over to Handshake. If you go to lasalle.joinhandshake.com, the URL that you'll see in the top of your screen as a recent alum, you can click at that bottom link, log in with your Handshake credentials. You manually type in your email address and the password that you created when you made your Handshake account. If you never made a Handshake account before, no worries, just reach out to the Career Center. Our email address was on that first slide, and I'll email that to all the participants afterwards. Just reach out to us and we're happy to help you create that account. So I'm just going to click the blue button to log in with my LaSalle, and by that, you'll be brought to this page. If you click on jobs, and in the search bar here, if you just type in the word remote, as opposed to a typical keyword, you'll be brought to a list of different remote opportunities. That's something that Handshake has just added because of the pandemic. You'll see right now there's 635 opportunities listed as remote opportunities. These are opportunities that might be full-time, they might be part-time, but these opportunities are from individuals who are looking to hire people right now. You'll see this first one on here, the application closes on April 22nd, 2021. So they have a long-term plan to even keep this position remote. This is not just something temporarily that would be remote, and a lot of employers are thinking about looking at remote long-term. So if you do apply to a position, don't necessarily think you'll have to relocate if it's not in the Philadelphia area. There's a very good chance you might stay remote. So just keep that in mind if you are a recent graduate looking for a full-time position, or if you're a current student looking for a summer job or an internship. Feel free to apply to any of these remote possibilities, even if the state is not located near you. You'll see there's all sorts of remote opportunities over here listed on the left. Some of these are sales, some of them are finance that we passed. Here's a marketing one. There's all sorts of different opportunities in here. So I would encourage you, no matter what your background is, no matter what you are looking for, take a stroll through these, see if there's some opportunities, because these are employers that are hiring currently and looking for recent graduates or those summer interns. You'll see if you look at the right side of the screen under the job title, it will say the employer, and then in gray, it will say if it's a full-time or a part-time job. Also on that same line, it will indicate if the position is paid and where the position physically is located or the employer is physically located. So feel free to take a look at all those different things when you're applying. Most of these positions will be paid, but I'm going to skip to one and show you like this one part-time internship. This is if you're looking for a summer internship. You'll see here that this is an unpaid opportunity. It lists that right next to New Orleans. Even though it's unpaid, if you're looking for a summer internship because your internship was canceled or you never found one, that's okay. This still might be a great way for you to gain some experience, and keep in mind it is remote, so there wouldn't be a requirement for you to travel to and from New Orleans. So this is something that you can do in the comfort of your own home. Ideally, the opportunity you will find is paid, but there is some value in these unpaid opportunities. If you are looking for academic credit, and you do receive one of these opportunities, please reach out to me in the Career Center, and I will work with you to see if we can get that experience for academic credit over the summer. I will forewarn you, you will have to pay approximately $2,100 to register a summer internship, but depending upon your situation, that might make sense if you're looking to graduate on time or accumulate some extra credits for a licensure. If you need that summer internship and that registration, we're happy to help you. Just reach out to us as soon as you receive that opportunity, and we'll look to see if we can get you credit for it. So now that we talked a little bit about different ways that you can find remote and micro internships, and we already talked about finding opportunities on Handshake. One thing I didn't talk about before, but I want to stress, is that second box there. Definitely make sure that you update your profile on Handshake, or you create a profile on Handshake if you don't have one. I didn't think about showing that before, so I'm going to skip back over. In the top right, you'll see where it says DP, it'll just say your initials. If you click on that and then click on My Profile, you'll be brought to a page that you can indicate information about yourself. You'll see that My Profile has a lot of different opportunities. You'll see the red marks that's missing details. I actively edit this all the time to show students how they can edit it. So for my profile right now, it is very sparse, but I would encourage you to input as much information as you can in your profile here. Keep in mind, you want to keep this all professional. This is something more like LinkedIn. This shouldn't look like a Facebook or an Instagram page. It should be on the professional side. But by adding more information into your profile, if you update your privacy to allow employers to see your profile, they will reach out to you with opportunities. You might not necessarily even have to seek out them, because some employers are looking for individuals, but they're going to do that based on the experience that's indicated in your profile. So if we switch back over to the PowerPoint here, that was a little bit on Parker Dewey and Handshake, but there's a much bigger aspect of doing a job search, whether or an internship search, whether we're in the COVID-19 environment or not. There's a lot of steps that need to be taken right now because you are competing with some more individuals due to furloughs and unemployment. We want to make sure that your job search really is on point so that you're the individual that they're finding, as opposed to someone else. We really want to make sure that we can help you stand out in your job or internship search. If you have any questions during the process of the search, please reach out to the Career Center, but we're going to go over a couple tips right now. But any of the career advisors, we're all happy to help you with your search. Step number one is to figure out a schedule. One of the hardest part about any job search, especially if you're in this remote setting, is staying productive and sticking to your schedule. Having a schedule and something that you can follow is really going to be critical to having a successful job search. Some things that you might want to do to stay productive is to have your own workspace, follow a daily schedule, and then make sure that you take breaks. How much time that you spend to your job search in that daily schedule is going to be up to you. Every person is going to have a different situation, but it's really going to be important to sticking to some sort of schedule for your own sanity and for your own production. Once you have figured out your schedule, you figured out your workspace, and you know what your day is going to look like, the next thing I would encourage you to do is to update your resume if it hasn't been updated in a little bit. Even if it has been updated, think about doing a job search and then look at the keywords in those job postings and ask yourself, are these keywords in my resume? If the keywords aren't in your resume, or if your resume is maybe using some outdated terms or things that aren't even appropriate to what your current interests are, think about updating all of that so that you really are staying on, have a targeted document is what I'm trying to say, so that the employer recognizes your value to them and they want to reach out to you with an opportunity. Having applicable work experience is also going to be critical. We talked before about being career ready and how those micro internships might help with that by giving you some skills. Once you have those skills, or even if you have them from other volunteer or leadership experiences throughout your undergraduate experience, making sure that you tailor those and make them applicable to the work experience that you're applying for is going to be key. Making it easy for an employer to understand how you can do the job and that you're able to do the job is going to be paramount right now, because you're competing with some other individuals that you typically wouldn't be competing with. So the more targeted, the more applicable, and the more interesting you can make your resume sound, the better off you're going to be. And the best way to make your resume sound interesting is by using keywords from the job posting and really showcasing your expertise and your skills. Again, the Career Center is happy to help you with this. I know that it's not always the easiest thing to either update your resume or even to start writing your resume. So please do reach out to us. I'll show you at the end how you can schedule an appointment with us, but it really is something that we're happy to help you with, and we're open all summer long. If you are trying to do this on your own, some of the things that you might want to think about is, how can I evaluate myself? Who am I as a professional is something that you might want to ask yourself. You also might want to ask yourself, what do you have knowledge of? What are the different skills that you have, or what are the skills that you lack for the job that you're applying to, and how can you make up for any skills that you currently are lacking? In the bottom there, you're going to see some terms in different boxes. There's an organization called NACE that indicates that these are the top skills that employers are looking for to indicate that you are ready to step into that job. If you are able to demonstrate all of these different items in your resume in your interview, you're at a much higher rate of being hired for an opportunity than individuals that can't showcase that they have this skill set. So think about all of that when you're writing your resume, when you're writing your cover letter. How are you showcasing these different ideas so the employer has the ability to know that you have the skills that they're looking for, that you are the candidate that isn't going to need the most training. You can really step in and do the job from the start. So while you're evaluating yourself and you're thinking about those skills, here's some other skills and some examples of how you can showcase those skills. So when it comes to the idea of complex problem solving and critical thinking, you might be able to showcase that with a volunteer experience that you did, whether it was on your own or with Greek Life or a student organization that you're a part of. That's a way that you can showcase your problem solving, by showing as a volunteer what you had to do, what challenges you faced to do that opportunity. I'm not going to read through all of these. You can take a look at it at your own time. But I'm hoping that by seeing these examples, you'll see that the experiences you had as a student really are going to put you in a prime position to be a candidate for a job right now, even though you are competing with other people. A lot of times when students request an appointment with someone in the Career Center, especially, speaking from my own experience, I feel like a lot of students don't recognize all the things that you do as a student. And those experiences will really put you at a great advantage if you can showcase them on your resume. Being able to showcase that you are service-oriented, your ability to make decisions. And one way that you can do that is even through your own sports, whether it's a club sport or if you are in an NCAA sport. If you were a captain, or even if you coach students, if you mentored students, that's a way that you can indicate your decision-making. These are all things that I would encourage you to take some time to do and update your resume and maybe modify how you're answering interview questions now, especially, so that you can really land that job or that internship. Another way to boost your skills is to think about what computer software you already know, or even take some time right now if you're not necessarily looking to start a job now, but you're thinking about starting that job or that internship in the fall or later, to get certified in a new skill set. There are a ton of free opportunities out there and a lot of online courses taught by professors at schools across the country. You just have to do a quick Google search to see some of the free opportunities right now. I know Microsoft's offering a ton of them for some of the digital technology skill set, but these are all ways that you can boost your skills and showcase them to employers once you do start applying to those opportunities. Some of the computer programs that employers are really looking for right now are listed here. Since a lot of opportunities are being remote, think about even adding something like Zoom or Skype or GoToMeeting to your resume and speak to how you might have finished out the semester utilizing some of these digital technologies, not only for class, but to work as a team member with whatever group you might be a part of. Those are all great skills that you have now developed because you had to finish the semester as a virtual student that not everyone is going to have. And we want to be able to showcase that in your job search so that you do get hired during this remote time period. So boosting your skills right now, showcasing that on your resume, showcasing that on your LinkedIn profile is another great spot, your Handshake profile, all of that's going to be key. And the more that you evaluate yourself and the more that you evaluate yourself regularly is going to also be something that is critical during this search. First, I would encourage you to evaluate yourself for the resume. Figure out what skills you want to indicate. Figure out how you want to update your resume. As you're applying to jobs with that now updated resume, you're going to start getting some interviews. How can you incorporate some of those new skills that you put on your resume in your interview skill set? How are you modifying the questions and the stories that you're telling during an interview? That's all going to be very important right now, and things that we can help you with in the Career Center. So don't feel like you're alone during, in making this transition. And we can have multiple appointments with you, so don't feel like you have to do this all one shot either. But if you are able to evaluate yourself regularly, this will be really important and something that can help make your search easier. Also, when you think about virtual networking, that's using the power of something like Handshake or LinkedIn to reach out to alums and make connections. That's something else that you should constantly think about. As you network, you are going to be receiving mentorship from those alums or those connections that you make. You're going to be learning from them, and you're going to be developing new skills. Adding whatever you learn from those mentors to your resume, to your interview skills, will also aid you in landing that job. Speaking of networking online right now really is the way that I would encourage you to go. Even though some states are opening up, it will probably take a little bit of time before you will be able to network in person as we did a couple of months ago. Even though you are networking online, I would encourage you to keep a conversation going. Invite the person that you're networking with once you've established that connection to something like a virtual coffee that you might have over Zoom. The more that you can enhance that connection to being more than just messaging text via email or LinkedIn back and forth, the nicer it's going to be and the stronger the relationship is going to develop. Some different areas that you can pull from your network will be family and neighbors, your professors, supervisors, either current or former co-workers, current co-workers, even if that was for an internship, and simply contacts that you've developed either at previous networking events or job fairs. Another area that you can develop a virtual network from is by going on LinkedIn and searching LaSalle alums in your area. We're not going to cover that now simply because we don't have time to cover all of that. But in a future webinar in about a couple of weeks, we will have a LinkedIn webinar like this, and we will show you how to dig into LinkedIn and find those alums. If you're eager though, and you don't want to wait for that, feel free to reach out to the Career Center. We'll schedule a how-to LinkedIn session, and we can show you how to do all of those things. As you do reach out to individuals, it is really important though that you want to make sure that you stay in touch. That way you can keep the relationship going. By simply sending one message, you're not going to really foster a beneficial network. You really want to keep a conversation going with them long term so that you can have someone in your keep pocket when you do apply to an opportunity, or maybe they'll even let you know about an opportunity to apply for, to really develop into something larger than just a message conversation. The more that you can connect with these individuals on a human level, the better off it's going to be. And doing things like having Zooms with them until you can meet face-to-face is a great way to create that network. And as you do all of this, always think about, where are your interview skills? Are you prepared to go through the interview process? Are you clearly articulating what your strengths and weaknesses are to the employer? And keep in mind, right now you're going to be doing this virtually or over the phone. So the clearer that you can be about your skill set, the easier it's going to be to showcase that you are a top candidate for the job. So if you need any help with your interview skills, please feel free to reach out to the Career Center. We're happy to do a remote mock interview with you. Some keys to conducting a great professional remote interview, though, is first to make sure that you have an ideal setting for that interview. Make sure it's well lit, make sure you have a strong internet connection, and make sure that you're free of distractions. It's great that you might have a house with some siblings or your furry friends, but right now you want to remove those individuals from your interview space to have a distraction-free zone. So go to your own room when you have your interview, make sure it's free of distractions so that you can really set up that ideal setting. Also make sure that you think about appearance. Even if you're not meeting this person face-to-face, if you are doing a Zoom or virtual interview with them, they will be able to see you. So having professional attire is going to be key. Having a nice professional or blank background is also going to be key, rather than, you know, looking like you're just doing this from sitting on your bed and having posters or pictures in the background. The more that you can make that background just like a blank background, or if it's, you can have a window if it's not too bright, but keep in mind, if you are sitting by a window during the day and it's sunny out there, it might create a glare, so being by a window might not be the best setting. But having something a little bit more basic is really going to be key to having a good professional background. Having strong eye contact and having positive body language is also going to be key. The people that you're interviewing with right now are not going to get to know you face to face. And if you're working remotely, they may never get to know you. So by establishing great eye contact and body language during the remote interview is really going to set the tone at a great first impression so that you can make that interview process just a little bit easier. So lastly, now that we've kind of talked about how you can do your job search remotely, I wanted to post a couple different resources for you. Again, I will email this presentation out to all participants in this webinar. Take a look out for that email, most likely tomorrow. The top 3 links on here are different job boards that are hiring currently. The first link is the PA job board for COVID-19 employment opportunities right now. The second is for the state of New Jersey. And the third is something that Handshake is posted with 500 companies hiring students right now. Some of these opportunities are remote. Some of them are more on the essential worker side, so they might not be remote. Some are full-time, some are part-time, some could classify it as an internship. You're gonna find a whole host of different opportunities here. At the bottom, you'll also see a few different articles if you wanna research and read up a little bit more on the COVID-19 job search or job search tips for a virtual interview or virtual job board.